You have a plan that would stop wasteful spending, and you call it a Bill of Rights for taxpayers. Let's talk about what it includes and how it's going to help.
Okay. I think we have a spending problem in Albany. We've had a spending problem for years. It was worse last year because it was the highest state budget ever. It was the highest state spending ever. And we raised taxes the most ever, all last year. And I really believe that if we didn't spend as much, we wouldn't have had the problems we're facing today. But having said all of that, that's in the past. We have to get back to discipline, fiscal discipline. And we have a plan. We call it the Taxpayer's Bill of Rights. It goes something like this. If you want to raise a tax or impose a fee or an assessment, you need 2/3 vote in each house, excuse me. Right now, it's a majority. And if that were in place, we could have saved almost $8 billion in new fees last year. There was 142 new taxes, fees, and assessments. That wouldn't have happened. The second thing is we want to have no more unfunded mandates. The state tells local governments and counties, hey, you got to do this, you got to do that, or you can't do this. And every one of those mandates or directives has a price tag. But the state doesn't give the local governments the money. It's picked up by the municipalities or the counties, hence the property taxpayers pick it up. We're saying if the state wants to give a mandate on local government, state pays for it 100%. So no more unfunded mandates. A spending cap. For example, if we could only increase spending by the rate of inflation, we would have saved last year $6 billion, just that alone. So put a cap on spending. Last but not least, put a cap on school property taxes that they can increase. Now, it takes courage, it takes political will and determination to do that. You might upset some special interest groups when you talk this way. But when the state is broke, when we have the worst recession that I've ever experienced in my lifetime. You know, my parents used to talk about, the Great Depression of 1929 and how you had 1/3 of the population unemployed. Well, you know, that was a story. I never experienced it. But I've experienced 2008, 2009. I'm experiencing 2010. And there's a lot of pain out there. There's a lot of fear. The unemployment is over 10%. And the what they call underemployment is close to over 17%. And what I mean by that, if I have a full-time job and I get laid off, and now I do part-time work, I do waitressing or I'm a waiter and I make half the pay and I don't have a pension or health benefits, I'm counted as being employed, but I'm really underemployed. That number is approaching 17.5%. Now, I do believe we're bottoming out. I'm seeing signs of hope and recovery, especially on Wall Street, but that's not happening to Main Street. So if we could spend with a correlation to inflation or deflation, then we will be in much better shape as we face the future. Yeah. So that's the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. And the last thing is the most powerful weapon you can give the people is initiative and referendum, where they have the power to institute laws or changes. Usually the government is afraid to do that because they're afraid of what the people may do, maybe in cutting their perks or cutting their salaries, or they don't want to change the status quo. But I believe in the wisdom of the people. That's who we serve. We're their voice. They're our bosses, so I'm a promoter of initiative and referendum.
And that's getting a certain amount of signatures to go on a ballot.
Right. What it is first of all, I think it's 50,000 signatures And it has to be from different regions. It can't be just from one region wanting a particular bill that affects that region.
Right.
And the people could then vote on whether they want the death penalty or same-sex marriage or against same-sex marriage, something that could change laws. And I think that's helpful. So, as I say, I'm a sponsor of it, and I think the time is right to let it happen.